Webster. We are the Paro-Paro G group and I am Monoclear R. Delfinado to discuss the cross-dressing. 21st century is the best century of all century. In this century, many of the achievements in human mankind happened. Our technology is growing rapid and exponentially as well as the society. Because of the fast-paced growth of the society, we as a human must keep our pace to learn different things about ourselves. This is very important because enable for us to determine the future, we must learn our past and learn from the mistakes of our ancestors, take a lesson and bring it with ourselves in the future. In today's era, issues are not only revolves in politics and economy. As the world and human societies evolve, human issues are also evolving. Some of the problems that are facing the society are the issues on human rights against the organization that are limiting the people to express themselves. But first, let us define what is the meaning of the word cross-dressing before we start to discuss it. According to Merriam-Webster, ND, the word cross-dress is the wearing clothes that are meant for the opposite sex. And according to them, this word is in use since the early years of 1911.
The cross-dressing made a huge difference in our system. In fact, cross-dressers and gays helps the Philippines to get the democracy and get out from the slavery of the Spaniards. According to a Filipino historian, Mr. Chua, that in the Katipunan secret meetings, the Katipuneros are dressed as girls to escape the Spaniard soldiers. On the other hand, churches are also involved in the issue of cross-dressing, because in the early stages of women, cross-dressing and living as a man is began to appear in the early Christian church, where there are a number of women saints who were found to be women only upon their death. In fact, women living as men seem to be more successful in the past 3 centuries than men living as women, perhaps because their motivations were different. But in contrast, the present day, the churches do not support any kind of homosexual activity and keep on saying that they are discouraging the choices of gender and stated that gender and sexuality is accounted a gift of God. Usually, the religion is the one that keeps us from evolving. Religious person, they are the one who hate to learn new things that is not written on the books they are believing. Their wisdom relies only on the words of the Bible, Quran, and other manuscripts, therefore keeping them to refuse knowledge. On the other hand, schools taught us how to respect the choice of every individual. School taught us about the democracy and the freedom of expression. School taught us the different moral ethical theories that helps us to determine the behavior of moral thinking of an individual. Under the different moral ethical theories is the subject relativism.
After they discuss to you the history of cross-dressing, I am here, Earl Jairo G. Bunyag, to discuss to you the conclusion of our group and the supporting theories on our conclusion. Subject relativism declares that we, each individual, in the authority on moral life and source of own moral principles. Each person has the right to decide on all matters of right and wrong. Subject relativism, what is right for you may not right for everyone. It means that there is no point on arguing decision on matters of justifying moral judgment to reasons, because there is no need to justify them anyways. Cross-dressing in pamantasan is a very huge issue between the institution and the student. Some of the cons allowing cross-dressing in the institution are, it will be against the dress code. It may be abused by the opportunists to enter female restrooms. But in contrast, if we allow the cross-dressers in our institution, the learners will be proud, comfortable, and will be able to express themselves. In conclusion, we the researchers are in favor of cross-dressing in pamantasan ng Kabuyao because we don't see the connection of cross-dressing as a hindrance of learning, where in fact, We do believe that letting the students at their choice will help them to inspire themselves to study in pamantasan ng Kabuyaw, but the rules must be implemented. In addition, pamantasan ng Kabuyaw taught us that ethics is concerned with the interests of society, but isn't it hypocrite if the same institution keeping us from our interest?
Fraternities and or sororities. According to IPL.org 2022, the origins of fraternities and sororities may be traced all the way back to the 18th century. It started off a self-contained setting. They proceeded to grow in size after that. The student devised a method for bringing together young women and young men who are looking for meaningful friendships. Allowing fraternities and sororities become a university's decision, and now various types of student organizations reflect the institution and its quality. Overall, becoming a member of sorority or fraternity might lead to mistake that you may later regret. On college campuses, especially in women's universities, the necessity for distinct equivalent for women become apparent early on. For many years, Greek and classical name societies for young women were widespread at women's universities and academies, and they were organized similarly to fraternities. The Adelphian Society was the first women's fraternity, founded in 1851 as Alpha Delta Phi, that because there was no other term for sororities, they were called women's fraternities. Gamma Pi Beta was the first sorority to be recognized in 1882. According to University of Michigan, 1912, Omega Upsilon was founded in 1909. Father Edward D. Kelly, who was the pastor of the university's student chapel at that time, he believed that young Catholic women attending the university should have some form of home life, and he discovered the sorority gave that society friendship and atmosphere. According to Austin, 1977, fraternity rules and values have always existed, independently of the college context. Fraternities have arisen with various personalities and histories on each school since the formation of Kappa Alpha at Union College in Schenectady, New York, in 1825 as the oldest hidden brotherhood of a social type, to construct secret societies dedicated to bringing together young men seeking conviviality. The trappings of an idolized ancient Greece were added to those of Freemasonry. Members used to meet weekly for social and intellectual camaraderie in a student dormitory room or rented space. Fraternities institutionalized numerous social escape to combat that monotony of mid-19th century institutions.
Consequentialism refers to those moral theories that hold the consequences of a particular action. The outcome of an situation relies on the decision of an individual. It may be good or bad. In the eyes of majority, the pros of having a fraternity in an institution is very few and light compared to the cons. The pros of having fraternities are you will just have more friends and social advantages compared to the consequences of time, commitment, and possibility of having hazing. In addition, leaders may manipulate their members to commit crimes. To conclude, we should ban fraternities and sororities in pamantasan ng Kabuyaw because of the strife lack of oversight and monitoring, and the death toll among students. According to Kantianism of Immanuel Kant, theory is asserted that the decision of someone must be based on one's responsibility to the rights of others, because when we hear the word frat, we think of a group of people who are trying to cause as much trouble as they can for students like us. Everything around us has the potential to derail our study, and we are all familiar with it because it's known by a variety of names for the group that organize it. And we are all aware of the consequences as a result of the news about what happened to a member of these exploited groups, and some are died because they can survive to what they are doing. And it usually happens in different schools that have big population of the students, just like our university. Overall, being in a sorority or fraternity can lead to things you might regret when you make the wrong decisions. In summation, fraternity or sororities should ban in PNC.